What's up, Buff fans? We hope your week has been well, and our job is to make it even better. I'm Logan Benson, and to my right is
John Ewald.
So without further ado, let's get straight into it. It was an exciting football game last week for the Buffs, who kicked off the 2024 season against one of the most elite programs in college football, the NDSU Bison. Here to start things off is our very own Harrison Simeon and Leo Rivera to recap the highs and lows of last week's intense battle.
What's up? I'm Harrison Simeon.
And I'm Leo Rivera.
And we're here at Folsom Field as the Colorado Buffaloes football team just kicked off their 2024 season with their first win since October 7th of last season against the North Dakota State Bison tonight by a score of 31-26.
And it was a nail-biter. Harrison coming down to the wire. Colorado looked like they might get behind going towards halftime, but they were able to fight through adversity and hang in through all four quarters tonight.
Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter were the brightest stars shining tonight, getting national attention, tweets everywhere. Travis Hunter with an unreal performance, 3 touchdowns, Shedeur reaching his 100th of his college career, and it was just an amazing performance all around by the passing offense. Plenty of new receivers showed out tonight, especially a familiar face in the form of Jimmy Horn, who had 198 yards.
Shedeur really did whatever he wanted to in the passing game. Offensive line held up, seems to have passed the eye test off the first game. 1 sack, but I wouldn't put it on the big guys up front. Shedeur Sanders may have been a little jumpy in the pocket. I like what I saw from the big boys up front tonight, Harrison.
I did too, but it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. We had the defensive side of the ball, had a bit of a very rough first half. We gave up plenty on the ground, but in terms of efficiency, I would say the run defense was much improved compared to last year, especially considering how NDSU likes to run the ball. 43 attempts tonight, 3.7 yards allowed per carry. And for the passing side, there were some issues. Cameron Selwyn-Craig went down with an injury. The relief wasn't quite enough to stop a lot of the Bison offense tonight, but we were able to barely hang on after a Hail Mary attempt. Came up just about 5 yards short as the clock expired.
It was a crazy game, Harrison. Plenty of things to look at that were good tonight, but also plenty of ugly things that Colorado will need to clean up if they want to compete with Nebraska here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that game will be on Saturday, September 7th in Lincoln. We'll be traveling out there and have all the coverage you'll need. For Sko Buffs Sports, I'm Harrison Simeon.
And I'm Leo Rivera.
And you've heard it here first.
The Buffs' Week 1 season opener was a thriller against North Dakota State. The Buffaloes' defense was quite shaky in the first half, allowing North Dakota State to score 20 points. However, the offense, commanded by Shedeur Sanders, was nothing short of explosive, with multiple big play touchdowns to Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn. In the second half, the defense tightened up, holding the Bison to just 6 points, while 2 ridiculous touchdown receptions by Hunter proved to be the difference, including a goal line fade where Hunter made the catch while being pulled to the ground. However, poor clock management from the Buffaloes late allowed North Dakota State to have a chance at the win, but their final Hail Mary attempt fell 5 yards short of the end zone as the Buffs got the victory. Sanders threw for 445 yards and 4 touchdowns, joining Patrick Mahomes as the only player to eclipse 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in back-to-back season openers. Horn pulled in 7 catches for 198 yards and a touchdown, while Hunter had 132 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Colorado's season opener against North Dakota State University drew a lot of eyes on Thursday night. The game averaged 4.8 million viewers and peaked at a whopping 5.6 million. Since 2017, no Thursday night opener has had more viewers than the Buffs against the Bison.
Along with the Buffs winning their debut game last Thursday, Nebraska won their season opener as well. The Cornhuskers topped the UTEP Miners 40-7. This sets up the old school rivalry between these two former Big 8 foes as a get-back game for the Cornhuskers. Last season, Nebraska came to Boulder and got beat down bad. But a lot of folks expect the Cornhuskers to be a lot better in the second season of head coach Matt Rule's tenure. The longtime coach has improved programs in his plenty of former stops, and he's already brought in a bright young quarterback named Dylan Raiola. one of the top quarterback recruits in the country, going toe-to-toe with future NFL star Shedeur Sanders, will make for quite a show on NBC at 5:30 Mountain Time. And the words exchanged between these two programs in the past may heat this rivalry game up even more.
Now, for this week's trivia question. With the Buffs facing the Huskers this week, it raises this question. How long has it been since the Huskers last defeated the Buffs? We'll have that answer for you coming later on in the show.
There are over 127 years of history between the Colorado Buffaloes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And since the rivalry re-sparked back in 2018, the Buffs have won every meeting, taking a 3-game win streak over the Cornhuskers headed into Saturday. Last year's matchup had a lot of hype, and Shedeur Sanders had a lot to say about Nebraska standing on the Buffaloes logo before the game, calling it, quote, disrespectful, and how it made the game personal. But going into tomorrow's contest, the tension has seemed to have shifted from a hated opponent to a respected competitor. Deion Sanders has gone out saying how much respect he has for Nebraska's head coach Matt Rule and how he'll always cheer for the coaching class that joined the FBS last season. Nebraska's true freshman quarterback Dylan Raiola was asked about Shedeur Sanders' quarterbacking play and said he has, quote, a tremendous amount of respect. And head coach Matt Rule backed it right up in a recent press conference, saying he, quote, appreciates how Colorado operates on the field and in the classroom. Will tomorrow's game forever shift the stigma around the Colorado-Nebraska rivalry? Watch to find out.
Before conference play kicks off, let's take a look at the Big 12 media poll for how the conference is expected to play out. Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and Arizona fill out the top 5, unsurprising as they were all featured in the AP Top 25. While Utah has predicted the top spot in the Big 12, the media feels it is up for grabs as Kansas State trailed by only 1 vote and Oklahoma State just a handful. CU comes in at the 11th spot as they look to prove the media wrong.
The two electrifying players, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, have set the scene for college football. Both players are Heisman candidates. This is no shock, as the Colorado Buffaloes quarterback Shedeur Sanders has the classic QB flair, allowing him to command the field and orchestrate the offense. Colorado Buffaloes first-team All-American and academic All-American Travis Hunter's ability to be versatile on both sides of the ball is outstanding. Hunter's had a huge impact on the field. The star-studded pair made Colorado the only program to have 2 players on the watch list.
Absolutely, and outside of the Heisman, multiple Colorado players made the watch list for college football's other top honors. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders is on the watch list for the Maxwell Award and the Davey O'Brien Award in his senior year. Two-way junior superstar Travis Hunter is on the list for the Bronco Nagurski Trophy, the Jim Thorpe Award, the Paul Hornung Award, and the Blitnikoff Award, and the Bednarik Award. Both Sanders and Hunter made the Walter Camp watch list. Punter Mark Vassett made the Ray Guy Award watch list, and defensive lineman Shane Cokes made the Werfel Trophy Award watch list. The transfers made some noise too. Defensive lineman BJ Green made 2 watch lists, the Outland Trophy and the Bednarik Award with Hunter alongside. Wideout LaJohntay Wester joins Travis Hunter on the Blitnikoff Award watch list.
Colorado wide receiver Jimmy Horn Jr. produced another career performance on opening day, putting up 198 receiving yards on 7 catches. He scored the Buffs' second touchdown of the game, going 69 yards for 6 in CU's 31-26 win over the North Dakota State Bison. After the game, Coach Prime shared with the media that Horn's big showing came weeks after hearing his father's prison sentence. Prime showed support for the Horn family on social media the day of the sentencing. Through Horn's big performance brought more attention to the situation. When speaking to the media on Thursday, Horn shared that his father, who's been dealing with drug-related charges since 2021, was sent to prison on Wednesday, with multiple coaches speaking of Horn Jr.'s professional attitude and Horn Jr. sharing that his father's legal troubles fuel him. He looks to have another big game against the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Saturday. Read more about what Horn brings to the Colorado football team on SkoBuffSports.com. I think CU's pass rush struggles again, allowing Nebraska to effectively move the ball. The Buffs receiving core will, however, overwhelm Nebraska's secondary and have a big night under the lights in Lincoln. Nebraska's highly touted freshman QB Dylan Raiola will make plays, but ultimately Shedeur Sanders will make one or two more plays, and the Buffs will walk off the Cornhuskers 34-31 on a game-winning field goal by Alejandro Mata.
With the Buffs defense having to undergo massive changes from their matchup against North Dakota State, I firmly believe that our defense will get plenty of stops against Nebraska, only allowing them to 17 points and putting us at 21 points. We will need Travis Hunter to get active on both sides of the field. Shedeur Sanders will need to pass just as good as he did against North Dakota State. And assuming that our offense maintains its firepower and our defense learns from last week, I see us taking the win here, 21-17.
After back-to-back clean slates against the Wyoming and Michigan last week, Colorado's Jordan Knights received co-Big 12 honors for the goalkeeper of the week. The junior from Aurora, Colorado, has the most saves in the Big 12 with 26 in 5 games started. Learn more about Knights' early season success in Mia Driscoll's article on our website.
Earlier this season, the Colorado Buffaloes soccer head coach Danny Sanchez won his 300th NCAA match against Michigan. In his tenure with the Buffaloes, Coach Sanchez has 7 seasons with 12 or more wins and has only posted 1 losing season. Sanchez has the most wins and the best winning percentage of any CU soccer coach in his 13 years at Boulder. Because of his success here, Sanchez inked a contract extension to coach the Buffs for another 4 years. That same day, Colorado volleyball coach Jesse Mahoney also received an extension, both being signed through 2027. Mahoney has been CU's coach for 9 seasons and has led the Buffaloes to 3 NCAA tournaments.
Coming off a devastating loss to the Miami Hurricanes on Saturday, the Buffs came out on top in their Sunday match against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, winning 3-0. Those matches were a part of a 3-game weekend in North Texas, which had another win against the Mean Green. Colorado will be hosting the Buffs Classics this weekend with teams from Georgia, Fresno State, and Washington. The event just started for the Buffaloes earlier this afternoon across campus.
Less than 1 football field away from our studio right now, the CU Free Ride Club is hosting their annual campus rail jam. The club brought snow from a glacier down to campus for the event that has athletics park skiing in 80-degree heat.
Head coach Roy Edwards enters his 19th season at Colorado as the school transitions to the Big 12. But first, the golf season will tee off September 10th against former Pac-12 rival Washington State when the team travels to Pullman. Then the team will stay local the following week as they're set for an in-state rivalry match with the Rams at the Colorado State Masters Invitational in Fort Collins. The 10-man team features 5 seniors, 1 junior, and 2 sophomores, as well as 2 freshmen. The team has been ranked 25th in the Golf's Channel preseason Division I poll. The team has not been ranked in the preseason poll since the 1980-1981 season. Catch the first 2 rounds on Tuesday and the 3rd round on Wednesday.
Aya El Said and Pierre Rebec of the women's tennis team recently made CU history. The two were named the number 8 doubles team in the entire country. Their outstanding play against top-ranked teams last year has earned them this title going into the upcoming season. This is the highest ranking Colorado tennis has ever seen in either singles or doubles. Their season starts September 13th against the University of San Francisco in the Battle of the Bay Classic.
Who wants to do basketball? Who wants to do football? Who wants to do soccer? Who wants to do volleyball? That's so sick. Videography. Anyone want to do that?
It's been a busy summer to say the least for Colorado alumni across pro sports. Let's talk to Nick Evans to catch you up on some of the highlights from our Forever Buffs.
How's it going, Buff fans? I'm Nick Evans, and today I will be giving you a recap of the sign-ins, achievements, and drafts of CU alumni over the summer. Starting off, it was a huge summer for Colorado basketball, and it all began on the NBA draft night in June. The Buffs sent 3 prospects to the big leagues, including Cody Williams at 10th overall to the Jazz, Tristan Da Silva at pick 18 to the Magic, and then KJ Simpson at 42nd to the Hornets. With that, Colorado had the second most draft picks from a single college, right behind the reigning champion UConn Huskies. Besides getting some fresh faces in the league, it was a particularly amazing summer for Buffs alum Derek White. White began his summer in the NBA postseason on the Celtics, where he was crowned an NBA champion after taking down the Dallas Mavericks. With that, he became the first Buff to win an NBA ring since Chauncey Billups back in 2004.
Washington drives, blocked by White! Oh, what a block from Derek White!
Derek White was undoubtedly a huge piece in the Celtics' playoff run, averaging 16 points and putting on a defensive clinic. And after making the Buffs proud, White was officially crowned a world champion.
World champion of what?
I am glad you asked. Speaking of champion teams, Derek White was then named to the Team USA men's basketball Olympic roster following the injury of Kawhi Leonard. White got his fair share of minutes in the group stage, averaging 20 minutes in the rotation between the first 4 games of the Olympics. He did his job filling the minutes between Team USA's star-studded roster, netting his own highlights and holding his own defense. When the games ended, Derek White left Paris as a gold medalist. Some star Forever Buffs also repped the black and gold in the basketball tournament this summer. Team Colorado was led by the likes of George Kane, Evan Batty, and Deshaun Schwartz. The Forever Buffs made it as far as the 3rd round and were boosted by some good old hooping by Andre Roberson. He netted a 22-point performance against the Aftershocks, and how about this step-back 3 to seal the deal. Now in the gridiron, linebacker alum Nate Landman earned an extension with the Atlanta Falcons in the offseason and is now being led by linebacker coach Barrett Ruud, who once coached in college against Landman in 2018 as a Cornhusker. It's funny how that works. Not many Buffs were sent to the NFL draft this year, but one alum, Xavier Weaver, got his name called as an undrafted free agent by the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals organization has high praise for Weaver. Head coach Jonathan Gannon praised his route running and kick returning, highlighted by this 37-yard return against the Colts in the preseason. Coming off his impressive preseason performance, Weaver was officially named to the 53-man roster. That's all from me. I'm Nick Evans, and back to Logan and John at the desk.
We're just a few days away from the first Sunday of the NFL season, and 9 Colorado alumni will be suiting up to play in the pros this year. Some players will be playing for new franchises, including Chidobe Awuzie moving to the Titans, and of course Xavier Weaver being undrafted. Others, like Nate Landman, however, have become solid additions to their core roster and will be fighting for another contract extension come off season. For all the updates and information about our Buffs in the pros, you can check out the article online written by our very own Brittany Garcia.
Colorado alum Jalen Sherrod played her first WNBA minutes for the New York Liberty against the Chicago Sky earlier in September. A month later, Sherrod scored her first points in a home game against the Dallas Wings in only 2 minutes of playtime. Sherrod has played a total of 19 minutes in 5 different games this season, tallying 6 points on 6 field goals attempted while dishing out 4 assists.
This weekend, the first club games of the season will be kicking off. And let's start off with the men's D1 hockey team, who will take on the Midland Warriors, a program that's fittingly from the state of Nebraska. That game will be on at 7, and so will their second game of the series on Saturday. Colorado will be recovering from the graduation of many of their top forwards and will hope to be lifted by their promising return skaters from Brody Pearson to Dougie Wood. You can catch that game and all the club hockey games at Colorado right here on Sko Buffs Sports.
Speaking of the club games, it's a busy weekend for club soccer as well, and it all begins on Saturday, kicking off the busy day for club sports. The men's black squad will host Colorado School of Mines, immediately followed by the white squad hosting the CU Denver Lynx. The women's team will end off the busy day immediately at 4, featuring the matchup between the Buffs black squad against the silver squad.
The CU Athletic Department recently banned Denver Post columnist Sean Keeler from asking questions after what they call a series of personal attacks on the football program and Coach Prime. I believe that Deion Sanders had a major role in the banning of Sean Keeler. What Keeler said could and should be seen as personal attacks, as he has been quoted as calling Coach Prime a false prophet, Deposition Deion, Planet Prime, Bruce Lee a BS, the Deion Kool-Aid, while also calling the football program a circus. My biggest issue, however, is how this sets the precedent for his players. How does Coach Prime banning Keeler set the precedent for Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter, as they will be top picks in the National Football League this upcoming draft? Does this mean that they don't have to answer hard questions or face criticism when they get to the NFL? Also, how does this make other journalists feel? Do they have to live in fear that their job will be taken away from them after an article scrutinizing Coach Prime for a clock management error if he deems it a personal attack? Well, I'm not defending Keeler in any way. Journalists should be able to do their jobs without living in fear of Coach Prime and the athletic department. Deion must have not thought about how banning Keeler would affect his team too. With all the negativity surrounding the program, Deion added more negative press that wasn't needed going into yesterday's matchup with the North Dakota State Bison. Now, Coach Prime and the athletic department had other alternatives. First off, don't call on Keeler to ask questions. Simple as that. Instead, he flat out banned Keeler from ever having the chance to ask questions. Sure, Keeler's attacks were personal, but it's not right for Coach Prime to strip away a part of someone's job, even though it says in his contract that he only has to speak to mutually agreed reporters. The Denver Post needs to fight back against this decision. If not, Deion will never have to face criticism when he concludes that what is said is a personal attack. Instead, the athletic department will cater the press conference to be filled with softball questions for Coach Prime that he can knock out the park or turn into an Aflac pitch. Back to you guys at the desk.
Who's the biggest Buff fan here?
Me! That guy.
Sko Buffs.
Go Buffs, baby! We're all about the Buffs!
Sko Buffs!
They can't contain us. We're the best. We can't be stopped. Sko Buffs!
Sko Buffs!
Hey Buffs, happy Friday. We have a ton of home games this week and one big rivalry game. I'm excited to get this week rolling, so let's get into what we have going on. In just 2 hours, our volleyball team kicks off the Buffs Classic with a match against the Georgia Bulldogs at 7 p.m. in the CU Event Center. These squads have a series record tied at 3 games apiece, and they both look to capture their 3rd win on the season later tonight. The Buffs play their 2nd game of the Classic against the Fresno State Bulldogs on Saturday at 6 p.m. and their final game on Sunday against the Washington Huskies at 1:30 p.m. After 3 games in a 42-hour stretch, the Buffs volleyball team has just 2 days to rest before they host the Northern Colorado Bears on Wednesday at 7 p.m. All volleyball games will be streamed on ESPN+. Now let's talk some Buffaloes football. We have a huge rivalry game coming up tomorrow as the Colorado Buffaloes travel to Lincoln to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, airing on NBC. With our improvement in the trenches from last year and their talented freshman quarterback, this game is surely going to be one you don't want to miss. Our soccer team looks to keep moving up in the national ranking as the Buffs take on the Weber State Wildcats at Prentup Field on Sunday at noon, airing on ESPN+. After the 2-game homestand, the Buffs match up against another pack of Wildcats as they travel to the Kansas State Wildcats on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, also airing on ESPN+. To close out this week's of sports, our men's golf team kicks off their season as they play 2 rounds in Pullman, Washington on Tuesday and finish with the 3rd round on Wednesday. With 5 out of the 10 Buffs on the golf team being seniors, it is no shock the Buffaloes are ranked 25th in the preseason Division I poll. That's all I have for you today. I'm Matt Spivak with this week's Rapid Fire.
Now, it's time for the answer to our trivia question. Drum roll, please. The Buffs have not lost to Nebraska since 2010, giving them a 14-year unbeaten streak against their rival.
And that will bring us to today's social media post of the week. Well-known rapper Big X the Plug made an appearance at the CU North Dakota State game. After the game, the Texas native raced a 20-yard dash on Folsom Field with Shedeur Sanders and others looking on. Take a look. While he wasn't able to emerge victorious, it's fair to say that he was really, quote, popping this on a whole nother level as one of the many celebrities to show out for CU football in the past year. And that is all from today's live show. Tune in next Friday for more content.
Stay classy, Boulder, and beat Nebraska!